Welcome to the Leading Edge Podcast with Eric Thompson.
Inspire, perform, profit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your good friend Eric. I hope you're doing fantastic today. This is episode number 33, where we are talking about self-confidence. I'm guessing that you would agree that self-confidence is huge. It's super important. It would score a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of skills and attributes that are important no matter what it is that you do. So if you're a realtor, if you're a leader, if you're a family member, no matter what you're doing, self-confidence is super important. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been around anyone who is really insecure, who really lacks self-confidence? Those people are hard to be around, right? God bless them, but that's a hard dynamic. That's a hard energy. It's just a hard attribute to be around. It's difficult to interact with those kind of people when they are super insecure. I think about a guy that used to work for me back in the day. He used to work at our front desk in our real estate office. And boy, it seems like at least once a week, if not multiple times a week, he would come into my office and ask for a quick meeting. He'd close the door, and the meetings were all about, am I doing okay? Am I doing all right? And the energy behind it was this just deep insecurity. So it became really hard to manage and hard to be around. And, you know, I'm someone who gives feedback to my people. So I was giving him feedback along the way, things he was doing great, things he could be better at. But still, he insisted on and really needed to have these little meetings with me to make sure that he was doing okay. And finally, we had a point in this dynamic in our working relationship where I just had to say to him, hey man, you know, you need to know that your confidence is not my responsibility. It's my responsibility to build up your skill set and to give you feedback, let you know things that you're doing well, let you know things that you could be better at, give you all the tools you need to do your job, give you a whole lot of clarity, get the environment right so you can really thrive. But ultimately, man, your self-confidence is not my responsibility. And he really got it. He really understood that. I think it really sunk in because I watched him change. He wasn't asking for those meetings anymore, or meetings or conversations. The dynamic became way more constructive, way more healthy. So a takeaway from that is that self-confidence comes from the inside. We can't expect it to come from the outside. So another thing to just understand is that confidence, it's super attractive, right? So when someone has self-confidence, that's really attractive. And when they're insecure, when they're super insecure and not comfortable at all in their own skin, it can be really unattractive. I was reading online an article about self-confidence, and it was talking about the difference between self-esteem and self-confidence. So, of course, both are important. Of course, they go hand in hand, and yet self-esteem and self-confidence are two really different things. And so this article made the point that self-esteem is really about self-worth, and self-esteem is really about the present. So it's about the present tense. So someone in the present who has high self-esteem will just be radiating this great sense of self-worth, all right? So their talk track inside their head is, I am worthy, I am valuable, I mean something, I have high self-esteem right here in the present moment, where self-confidence is really more about the future. So it's about the future. It's a belief knowing that simply, you know what, I got this. I got this thing that's going to happen into the future. It's saying to yourself, you know what, I can handle anything. So there are two keys to this, two big keys when it comes to self-confidence. Key number one is it's internal. All right, so again, so it comes from the inside. We can't expect that it can come from the outside. So it's not the outside world's responsibility to create self-confidence. So we can't put the responsibility of our own confidence onto another person or onto the environment or onto some certain circumstance or dynamic. We can't expect that self-confidence will come from the outside. It's got to come from the inside. All right, so that's key number one. Key number two is that it has nothing to do with experience. All right, and that may kind of trip you out. That may just sound kind of weird. That may be hard to get our head around. But self-confidence has nothing to do with experience, because it's that belief, knowing that, you know what, I can handle anything. Now, experience for sure will make us better. Okay, so I can think of things. I mean, take this podcast, for instance. You know, I think that it's gotten better over time. So I think that episode 33 is better than episode number 1 for lots of different reasons. And yet I was confident going into even episode number 1, even though I had never done this before, because I knew I could handle anything. All right. And I knew that I had the ability to handle it. So experience will help you to be better, but experience shouldn't necessarily be responsible for our own self-confidence. What generates self-confidence is that I can handle anything. And to take that a little bit further, and this is where this gets really cool. If you want to take that saying further, or that phrase further, I can handle anything, really it's saying I can handle anything and I won't get hurt. So when you are saying to yourself, when you know inside of yourself, you know what, I can handle anything and I know I'm not going to get hurt, that's what's generating self-confidence. That's what allows you to just step into something full on, knowing that you're not going to get hurt. So let's keep going with that. So when you think about getting hurt, maybe initially you think about a physical hurt. So I don't know, there may be some physical thing that you're going to do, and you need to be confident knowing that you're not going to get physically hurt, or at least permanently hurt, and that would give you self-confidence. But really this is about in the world that we live in the world of sales and the world of leadership, the kind of hurt, of course, is not to do with emotional, because, you know, we're not going to get like physically slapped, hopefully not by a client or by someone that's working for us. So it's not about physical hurt. What is it about? It's about emotional hurt, right? So it's about emotional hurt. So it's saying to yourself, I can handle anything and I won't get emotionally hurt. So knowing that you won't get emotionally hurt, again, gives you that confidence to step into something full on. All right, so let's keep going with that. The emotional hurt, where might the emotional hurt come from? By who would inflict emotional hurt? If emotional hurt is going to happen, who would inflict, who would cause, who would generate that emotional hurt? You know who it is? It's us. It's us ourselves. Okay? So sure, there may be slight emotional hurt from other people, but you know where most of that hurt comes from? It comes from us ourselves. So self-confidence, it's really interesting. It's a whole lot tied to judgment, okay? So it's tied in a big, big way to judgment about who? About ourselves. So self-confidence is really about trusting yourself. Self-confidence is about trusting yourself. It's about trusting yourself to not beat yourself up. All right, so this is a huge takeaway when it comes to self-confidence. I'll say that one more time. So self-confidence is about trust. It's about trust in yourself. It's trusting yourself to not beat yourself up. Aren't we our own worst critic? Can't you think of a time where you had a disappointment, something didn't go the way you wanted it to go, and you really beat yourself up? You just played a loop over and over in your head about how you screwed up, and there you go again, and gosh, I can never do things like that. We so often are our own worst critic. I think about interactions I have with my kids, and we teach them about treating people with respect and being kind, and we're blessed with great kids. Every once in a while, we have to make a correction. We say, you know what, and this is the phrase we use, we say, you know what, Thompsons don't say that. You know, Thompsons don't say that or think that or say those kinds of things about other people, right? And when I think about the things that they may say versus the things that we may say to ourselves, like we would never be okay with another person saying the kind of things we say about ourselves. We would never be okay with that person saying those things to another person. We wouldn't talk to other people or talk about other people the way we talk about ourselves so often. So we have to be just super cognizant of how we talk to ourselves. So the thing is when it comes to self-confidence is that no matter what, You have to believe that no matter what, I will have my own back. No matter what, I'm going to have my own back. And it's knowing that I can experience any emotion and I am going to be okay. So I can step in any situation, have any kind of outcome. I can feel that disappointment temporarily. I can feel even the judgment from other people. Gosh, the shame. I can feel the bad feelings that may come from a disappointment temporarily, and I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to have my own back. I am not going to beat myself up. That's what causes self-confidence. That's what generates self-confidence. When you know that, for sure, in any situation, you can experience any emotion. One of my mentors, a woman that I follow, a genius, her name is Brooke Castillo, she has this great saying when it comes to this. She says that fear doesn't hold us back. It's the unwillingness to feel fear that does. So again, fear doesn't hold us back. It's the unwillingness to feel fear that holds us back. So it's not really fear itself. Fear is not in the way, but it's saying to yourself, you know what? I'm not willing to feel fear, so I'm not going to step into this situation full on because I don't want to feel the fear that may come along with it. So again, self-confidence has a whole lot to do with knowing that you can experience any emotion and be okay with that. So failure and disappointment play a big role in this, all right? Failure and disappointment play a big role. So it's important that we fail so that we learn, right? We have to go out there and experiment and try and attempt and be okay with a failure and be okay with feeling the disappointment, because now we've learned a whole lot. Now we can correct. Now we can shift gears, shift approaches, shift our tactics, and try something different. But it's that willingness to be okay with disappointment temporarily. You know what? I'm going to be okay with feeling disappointed for a little bit because I know I have my own back no matter what. I know that I will pick myself up, dust myself off, and be perfectly fine, perfectly okay to step right back into this and try it again. Okay, so failure and disappointment play a big role. I'm going to give you, as we wrap this little session up about self-confidence, I'm going to give you 4 tips, all right? So 4 tips when it goes along with self-confidence. These are 4 tips to help you be way more self-confident, all right? So I've done the research on this. I've done some preparation for this podcast. I've been reading and searching online. These are 4 really distinct, really important tips that will work when it comes to self-confidence. Number 1 is your body language. If you want to be confident, if you want to believe that no matter what you can handle anything, you have to get your body in the posture that reflects that belief, all right? So what does that look like? That looks like you're sitting up straight, your shoulders are back, your chin is up, you got a little grin on your face, your eyes are shining and sparkling. You are in a self-confident body position that changes the chemistry in your body, that helps you to be prepared for anything that may come your way in the future. Again, self-confidence is about things that are going to happen in the future. So get your body prepared for things that may come your way in the future. It's football season right now. Think about football players before a play. They're all in their athletic stance. They are prepared for what's about to go down. They're prepared for what's going to happen because they got their body ready, right? They're in that stereotypical kind of that classic athletic stance. We need to get ourselves into a stance, into a body position that will help us to be ready. That's number 1. Number 2 is about visualization. Visualization is big deal when it comes to self-confidence, again, because self-confidence is about things that will happen in the future. So visualization is something that you can do to allow the scenario to play out in your mind before it actually happens. So watch it play out in your head. Even watch obstacles and challenges that may come up along the way, objections that the other person may bring up, difficult parts of the conversation, and watch yourself be able to handle those. Watch yourself deal with those scenarios with grace and recover and adapt and shift, and watch the end of this scenario play out exactly how you want it to. That will allow you to step into the situation, especially if it's a situation you've never actually done before. If you can visualize it first, that gives yourself a big, big advantage that will give you big confidence going in. So tip number 2 is visualization. Tip number 3 is permission. Give yourself permission to be, number 1, to be fantastic and be awesome. Give yourself permission to feel disappointment. Give yourself permission to fail and be okay with that. Give yourself permission to have confidence. Give yourself permission to feel it come from the inside and be awesome and amazing in that future situation. Tip number 4 is watch your self-talk, okay? Watch your self-talk. Be aware of how you are talking to yourself. And yes, it is that self-talk of, you know what, I got this, I own this, I'm gonna rock this situation. It is that, and it's also, and maybe even more importantly, it's also, I have my own back. I have my own back no matter what. So no matter what goes down, even if I totally make a fool of myself, totally fall on my face, totally flame out, I have my own back. I will not beat myself up. I will feel the disappointment temporarily, and I'm going to be okay with that. I will dust myself off. I will get right back up. I'm going to be fine. I've failed before. I've had disappointments before, and here I am. I'm fine. I will be fine once again. So it's not a big deal. I have my own back no matter what. All right, guys. So that's all about self-confidence. I'm hoping that that was helpful to you. Remember that self-confidence is about what happens to you in the future. And the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is just have it come from the inside, have the self-confidence come from the inside, stemming from the belief that you have your own back no matter what. Hey, if you want to be even more self-confident, if you want to get more coaching like this, if you want more skills, more tools to add to your tool belt, go join the Leading Edge. This month we are talking about buyers and how to help out buyers through the buyer process. And this is your chance to be really, really good when it comes to buyers. So go get in there, go join the Leading Edge, go to jointheleadingedge.com. In the meantime, enjoy life on the Leading Edge. I will catch you in the next podcast.